Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our training presentation, Partners Only for Cellements. My name is Nicolas Andreson, Sunday morning here in Eastern Time in United States. And today we have a special day because we have a special guest. We have a guest that absolutely, I think the highest about him and the, the wisdom and tips that he has and experience that he has in this industry, absolutely second to none. Many books publisher in this industry, how to build your business, what to do the right thing in the business, and just a few of the many books that he wrote. And I personally read that it's absolutely phenomenal. And every webinar that I seen, seminar that I seen with him, um, absolutely fantastic with people from many different companies, many different, areas, very excited about, because I don't want to take too much from, all what he's going to share with us today. And please take a pen and a piece of paper because there's going to be a lot of notes that you're going to need to take from this presentation. Folks, I want to introduce to you Mr. Tom Schrader, also known as Big Al. I believe he's in Thailand right now. So, Tom, can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you just fine.
Excellent, man, unbelievable. So, folks, here is Big Al. Al, it's all yours.
Okay, so if you have a pencil and paper, we're going to write down a couple things. And the first thing we want to write down is what our job is. And our job isn't to make the spray. It isn't for handling the lawyers or the website, and the company does all that. The only thing we have to do is get people to say yes. Yes to be a customer, yes to be a distributor. So our job is to get people to say yes. That's it. And that's the only thing we get paid for, of course, because, well, if they say no or need to think it over, that's the same as a no. We won't get paid. So our job is to get people to say yes. And my question is, how do people say yes? And the answer is they kind of make up their mind. Now, they don't make up their foot, and they don't make up their hand. So they got to use their mind to say yes or no. So all of our work or activity happens inside the human mind. Now, we're in the decision-making business. So somebody asks us, to fill out a job application, what's your previous employer? And we're doing this, we'd say, to get people to make decisions. That's our job. So decisions happen in the mind. And here's a little problem. Do we know how the mind works? And the answer is, of course not. They don't teach us this in school. They kind of skip that, even though we're going to have to be using our minds over and over again. They don't give us an operator's manual. So let me give you 3 quick rules of the human mind as far as decisions are made. So if you have your pencil and paper ready, write down number 1, that the human brain makes decisions instantly. That's right away. Instantly. Real quick. Like first 10 seconds or 15 seconds. Now, you may not believe that now, and that's okay, but it's how it works. We'll get back to that in a moment. Rule number 2. The human mind makes decisions based upon 0 information. None. Doesn't use any information. Doesn't have time for it. Number 3. The human mind is lazy. And it likes to not think very much. It wants to save its thinking for Netflix or something important like that. So when it comes to making up its mind, it says, just make it easy for me. Don't give me a lot of choices. Just give me like the minimum amount of choices so I don't have to think. So what's the minimum amount of choice? Well, that would be 2. 1 is not a choice. So what we're going to do is work with the human brain and say, okay, you don't want any information. You only want 2 choices at the end, and they want to get it over with right away. So let's see why that is so. And then we're going to design a couple words to make closing easy, so we'll never be afraid of closing, even if you're a shy, introverted person like me. So let's try this. When we're done with this meeting, let's say we're in Michigan at a hotel meeting room, and Nicholas finished the meeting, and Nicholas says, "All right, everybody, meeting's over. Big Al and I are going to the local ice cream shop afterwards. Who wants to come with us?" Half the people raise their hand. The other half say, "Well, I have a babysitter at home. I'm lactose intolerant. I worry about my blood sugar." Yeah, okay. But instantly, that decision happened, didn't it? And everybody made that decision based upon just about zero information. I mean, we made up our minds before Nicholas even said where the ice cream parlor was located, or if he was going to pay or not, or how many flavors of ice cream. So you say, wait a minute, I made my decision before any information happened. Right, because human brains make decisions before the information. And what was our choice, to go or not? And if we say, well, I want to think it over for a week, well, that's a choice not to go. So it's either or, either go or not. So that's an example of how our human mind likes to work. Let me give you another example. You at a grocery store, aisle 4 on your cart, and you and I are walking down the aisle. First thing we do on the left is see a box of cornflakes. Now, do we stop and does our mind say, cornflakes? I wonder if they have a company video. Tell me about the company founders of the Cornflakes Natural, International, Supernatural. They won any awards lately? No, we don't do that. We just make an instant decision, blah. Cornflakes, blah. And we go down the aisle very quickly. No, 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 no. Bottle of wine, yes. No, 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 no. Donuts, yes. No, 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 no. And we make instant decisions right away. Because if we didn't make instant decisions, well, we'd starve before we get to the end of the aisle, and that wouldn't be good. So you and I, as humans, even though we don't like it, make instant decisions on no information, and we just want to get it over with right away. And here is why. Our brains can have one thought at a time, just one. So right now it's thinking, oh man, who fed the dog? And I got all these other decisions coming up, like, what am I going to do at work tomorrow? How am I going to plan for this vacation? Or what's in the cupboard? And all these decisions are piling up waiting their turn. So we're always pressured to hurry up and make a decision and get on to the next one. And if people try to give us information first, we are irritated. We say, wait. Only give me the information if I made a yes decision. No. When we're out there talking to people, if we're going to be polite, give them a chance to make a quick yes or no. And they don't want any information, just kind of a smell or a whiff or just what's about. And then they're going to say, I'll make a quick decision. If the answer is no, we're done. If the answer is yes, you can give me more information. And my choice, just make it quick. Just 2 things. And that's all we have to do. So now that we know all the brain science we need to know, let's put it to work. When we talk to people, how soon do you think they're going to make up their minds about us? And they're going to say, well, I think they're going to make up their minds right away, or if they're going to buy the spray or not right away. And they don't want a whole lot of information. They don't know what's the kill count. They don't want to know how long the germicide lasts. They're just going to make it right away. And how do they do that if they don't really gather information? Well, we can do something here that will make it easy. Now, if you're shy to talk to people, Nicholas certainly is not shy. But if we're shy talking to people, I can tell you this will really help. There's a little formula that gets us to talk to people. And the formula is this. Confidence equals belief plus skills. So if we're shy, we don't want to talk to somebody, it's because we're missing one of these 2 things, belief and skills. So when we talk to people, and if we're shy, here's how we're going to overcome it and become confident. Here's the first thing. We're going to create a bigger belief in our business and our product. So let's just take the BioSpray. They say, how can somebody build a belief in that and that's a good business opportunity? Well, here's what they found out. And if you've done any personal development, if you ever listen to audio tapes or watch some videos and chanted affirmations and set goals and made vision boards, and if you've done any of this stuff in the past, um, you may not like this too much, but let's talk about it because it's interesting. They did a study about people believing and selling more and talking to more people, and they did it with some fundraisers. So there's a group of salespeople, if you want to call them salespeople, that sit in an office and they call out all day telemarketing and ask people to donate money for charity to help children. And they said, well, I wonder how we can motivate these people to do more. So every 2 weeks they looked at their sales and, the same. So they broke up the group into 3 parts. Now, I want you to think about these 3 groups of people and what they did to them. The first group, they did nothing. They didn't interrupt them, didn't set them aside, nothing. They just let them work just as usual. They came in, went to work, went home. And over the next 2 weeks, as you and I would guess, their sales were the same as before. The second group of people, they did something different. They said, well, for the first 2 or 3 days, we're going to motivate these people. Yeah, we're going to motivate them. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to show them pictures of previous people that worked here and show them pictures of promotions and cars they won and trips they won and bonus checks they got and talk about how it changed their lives, etc. And they did this for 2 or 3 days, about 10 minutes before they started to work, just for 2 or 3 days to motivate them. Guess what happened at the end of 2 weeks? They looked at their sales and their sales were exactly the same. Even though they try to hype the people, motivate them, get them to think big, dream, the sales is roughly the same. Third group of people. Now, the third group of people, they tried this. They said, all right, here's what we're going to do for just the first 2 or 3 days. We're going to take them aside for 10 minutes before they start, and we're going to show them pictures of children this charity money helped and how it changed their life and where the money goes and how people appreciate it. And they went to work. At the end of 2 weeks, their sales doubled. And let's think about this. When we try to motivate ourselves for something that we want, it doesn't seem to make much difference. So all the goals we write of what we want and vision, it doesn't make a big difference. But what made the biggest difference was when we thought we were helping other people. So our belief that we're helping other people can actually double our performance and make it easier to talk to people. And you see this all the time in yellow personalities. Yellow personalities, usually they're not very outgoing to themselves, enjoy helping people. But if it's for a charity, they would walk through walls. Bravest people in the world because they're helping other people. So if you feel that your confidence is lacking because of belief in the product or opportunity, this might be something to do. Maybe visit with a couple of people that are your customers and see how much they love it, or how it changed their life, or how it made their life easier. Or if their skin used to have problems, now it doesn't have any problems, and listen to them talk. And just review that. If we do that, we're thinking about other people and something magical happens. Before we say our first word, many times people have already made up their minds. And you say, how is that possible? They're not even talking. Well, how they make up their minds is this. They take one look at us, and what they're looking at is something before we've said our first word. Now, if you have pets, you know how this works. One day you walk in the living room, you say to your pets, hey, hop into the car just like every other day. We're going for a fun ride, and the pets run underneath the sofa because they know we're going to take them to the vet. How'd they know? Well, they didn't take their paw and break into their Apple diary. What they did is kind of pick up the vibes. They picked up our body language, our tone of voice, our facial expressions. They know. And how they know is maybe 3 months ago we said the exact same words but moved our elbow a little bit higher. And they said, when that happened, we ended up at the vet with needles in our butt. So they're going to take me to the vet again. Oh, no, no, no. So they look. Now, you and I, as kids, when mom sticks her head inside our bedroom, we look at her face right away to kind of see if she has an agenda, she's mad, she's happy. We look at people's faces. And this comes from when we're cavemen. When you met a stranger out there, you had to maybe sort out in 1 second if it's going to be a friend or a foe, or else you might be dead. So our minds have been trained from day one to look at people and see if they have an agenda. And that's why we can smell a salesman from a mile away. So when we sit down with people, before we said our first words, it may already be over because they read our face. They're going to look at our microfacial expressions, and we can have up to 25 different expressions per second. They're going to listen to our tone of voice, our body language, and they're going to sort out, are you a salesman? Do you have an agenda? Do you have my best interest at heart? They just sort that out. Now, you and I can't change our facial expressions that quick. So we're going to use a hack. And the only hack we need to know is 1 second before we talk to somebody. All we have to do is maybe review in our mind how much we believe in the product because it helped this person, that one of our customers or somebody we heard a testimonial from. And that shows up all over our face. And the difference is I could walk into a hotel and talk to the manager, and right before I walk in, I'm thinking, I'm going to crush him like a grape. I'm going to take control. He's going to buy the biggest order ever. And guess what? He's going to read that all over my face. But what if 1 second before I said to my mind, hey, I just want to help them because it's going to save him a lot of money and a lot of grief, and he might even get a bonus. I better let him know. And he'll read that all over my face. So belief is one thing. If we get that out of the way, the second thing is the skills. Greatest product in the world is useless if we don't use the right words, because our words might turn them off. So let's pick some words here that's going to be useful. So Nicholas, out of all the products, which product would you like me to use for an example here?
The antibacterial.
Antibacterial, all right. So if you already have your pencils ready, what we're going to do is come up with one sentence. That's all we have to say. And we introduce our product and we close them. We give them options so they only have 2 things to choose from, and it's all automatic. So you all ready? Here's the first 4 words. Does it make sense? Now, if we say, does it make sense? What's most people going to say? Well, I'm a sensible person. I'm not an idiot. Of course it makes sense. I'm a smart person. I don't make dumb decisions. So just from the first 4 words, does it make sense? We're already winning. And then we're going to tell them what we want them to do. So we say, does it make sense to protect yourself from bacteria, comma. And then we're going to say instead of. Now, when we say instead of, that means what we're going to say next is something they're doing already. It also signals they're going to have a choice, an option. So we're going to say, does it make sense to protect your hands from bacteria instead of being exposed all day long? Now, what do you think most people are going to say? Probably, yeah. Probably 7 or 8 out of 10. Some are going to say no. They're going to say, no, my father died young, my grandfather died young. I want to die just like them. Or some people say, well, my mother dropped me on my head, or this is too hard for my tiny brain to figure out. But most people will say yes. So all we have to do is say, does it make sense to protect your skin from bacteria instead of being exposed all day? You say, well, that means all they have to do is say yes or no, and we're done. And the answer is yeah, because people want to make decisions first. Details can come later. The only people who want to hear about the ice cream details are people who said yes, not the people who said no. So decisions come first, details later. If you like for the skin, you say, does it make sense to look younger instead of looking like the older sister? For energy, does it make sense to have energy all day long instead of feeling bad every afternoon. And you say, that's all I would have to do is say that one sentence? And the answer is, that's where it all happens. People are desperate, right away from day one to make the decision as quick as possible so they can get on to the next one. They have lots of decisions to make. They say, well, what about the business? Well, does it make sense to have an extra paycheck every month instead of getting by on one paycheck? Does it make sense to be in a business where you're really helping people instead of pushing paper from one side of the desk to another? Does it make sense to work out of your home instead of commuting back and forth to work? Does it make sense to have a case of the biospray in the trunk of your car instead of making them wait 2 weeks to have their own delivered? Does it make sense to get started now instead of keep trying to get by on one paycheck? Does it make sense to have the biospray with you so it's convenient and then you'll be protected all the time? And there it is. Once we know how the brain works, it makes sense of decisions on no information. It's just like a simple option. And we can do it all with one sentence. We're done. And you can make up as many of these sentences as you want. But for everybody here on the call, I'd say, does it make sense to use this simple sentence instead of trying to do some silly sales presentation they ignore? Or does it make sense to, and tell them what you want to do instead of where they are right now? Here's the bottom line. They can keep their miserable life just the way it is. Or they can take our suggestion that makes sense. And you'll be amazed that most people will say yes. All the other information, like how many germs it kills, or how long the spray lasts, or which direction to put it on, or the price per container, all that is detailed after they've made the decision. So there it is, Nicholas. Not a whole lot of thing to do. Just remember our brain rules. Have one magic sentence and we'll be the champion closers of all time. So if you're talking to the biggest hotel in the Caribbean, you just might say, doesn't it make sense to give your guests these hand sprays instead of having something bad happens and they close down your hotel? And just like that, it's over. So should we open up for questions? Oh.
I got it.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, excellent. So folks, we can open up for questions right now. If you have any questions directly for Al, you can type it in down and Al can answer to the questions. Phenomenal, inputs and gold nuggets for building your business. And now you have a chance to ask directly Al question. We got a first question here. It does make sense. Okay, I guess it was an affirmation.
Yeah, it's doesn't it make sense to just use one sentence instead of doing a long, boring meeting? Yeah, it just makes sense.
We have another question here. Oh, I'm already a millionaire. Okay.
That's great. I asked for a loan real quick. I'd say, well, doesn't it make sense to have a business so your friends can become a millionaire also? Or does it make sense to double your million to 2 million instead of just staying at 1 million? Or does it make sense to make extra money when you're talking to people instead of talking to people for free? Yeah, that would be pretty easy to do. That'd be a lot of fun too.
Absolutely. Well, Al, thank you very much. It looks like everybody's still taking notes, and we all appreciate every input that you gave us today and everything. Folks, this training was recorded also, so you never discuss pricing with your. Do you ever discuss pricing with your prospects?
Yes. they're probably going to ask if they're interested. So first of all, let's say, does it make sense to check your skin all the time instead of, you know, not having it protected? And they say, well, yeah. I says, well, get yourself some biospray. And they say, well, how much? I think that's a good time to discuss it. You'd say, well, let's say it was, I don't know, what price should we say? $10, $8, $6? What price would you say if they say how much? I don't know. Let's say it was $8, and they say $8. That's a lot. And I said, well, doesn't it make sense to keep bacteria off your hands instead of always being at risk of being sick?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're done. It doesn't take much. So that's a good question. Yeah.
Well, let's see.
No other questions? All right. So now all we have to do is, as soon as we hang up here, within 1 minute, just talk to somebody. And, maybe it's your dog. Just turn to your dog and say, does it make sense to have an extra paycheck every month instead of trying to get by on one? And the dog doesn't say anything, we'll just ask somebody else and just go right on down. It only takes them 5 seconds to figure this out. It's pretty easy. So, hey, thanks for inviting me on the call.
You're very welcome. Thank you for being with us, and we're looking forward to have you back here more times. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Enjoy your Sunday, and good night out there where you are. It's already night. So everybody, we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For more information, please visit everycell.cellements.com.